Hey, welcome to my garden. It's quite a mess right now, so I'll show you around later. But anyway, right now I wanted to talk about the Publicum music video because I've heard some questions. And by the way, let me introduce my guest, Mr. Sock.
Where did you film this?
Well, what do you think? We built this amphitheater out of cardboard, and then I lifted Ramon with his grand piano on a rope. Um, nah, I'm kidding. It was crazier than this. When I initially talked to Ramon about this video, the idea was that we wanted to show various spaces that suffer without having an audience, like a theater or a cinema or a boxing ring or a circus. And these stages are empty and the artist is lonely. So what do we do with this idea? Well, we could rent a ton of locations and film it all in there, but this would be way too complicated. And we also wanted it to feel like a dream, so that the space transforms from one thing into the other. But how do you record a dream? If you ever recorded anything in a dream, you know that when you wake up, all this lovely footage is lost. So we needed a different solution, and guess what? I used a computer. And here's how you can do it. You just download Blender, it's free and open source, and you can start looking for some free models to begin with. A grand piano, yeah. Theater chairs, and Marshall amps, and a theater spotlight, and some trash? Yeah, sure. But actually, most of the stuff that you see in the video I modeled manually. Amphitheater with chairs, and a circus tent with the platform on top, most of the backstage stuff, all that. And yeah, this video isn't a Blender tutorial. I can make some if you want, but it's just a quick rundown of whatever I was doing. So yeah, when people ask me, where did you film this? It really feels like a compliment because I made it. Because honestly, there is no way we could film something like this in real life with the budget that we had.
And how about the people? Are they real?
Well, but what is real? How do you define real? If by real you just mean people that exist in the world and have names and surnames and documents, then, well, yes, those people are real. I asked 5 friends to pose for a 3D scan that I did with Polycam, and that's the crowd. Polycam is an app for your phone that basically takes a ton of photos of your subject and then, using a process called photogrammetry, turns it into a 3D model, and it's very easy to use, and the quality is quite reasonable. And I mean, yeah, that's just 5 people. 7 scans in total. I just painted them in random colors. I mean, not actually random, I picked the colors from a photo of a crowd that I found on the internet, so this way the clothes are up to the latest trends, or well, at least some trends. And I put these colors on a color ramp driven by the random per object input.
And then to put the paint in the right place, I hand painted the masks for each person so that the shader would know where to put each clothing color. There are 2 for each model, one for the upper body and second for the lower.
Yeah, I could make an entire separate video explaining the shader, plus the geometry notes.
Set up the content to it to put the people in the faces, randomizing position and scale.
I don't want to bore you.
Yeah. How did you put Ramon in the computer?
He needed to go into the matrix, and here's how it looks like. It's green, and I used the green screen to remove the background and put the actor in the 3D location in the computer. That's a pretty common technique, but I needed a few more tricks to make it look believable. First, I needed to match the lighting on our green screen set to the lighting in the 3D environment. It was usually just one spotlight, but still the light needed to come from the right direction. Second, in some shots the camera was moving too, so I needed to plan the choreography of the actor and the camera precisely to do the same movement on the film set, the same as in the 3D space. And then I needed to do 3D motion tracking to be able to blend it well with 3D objects in there. But then there is also one shot where this got even more complicated. The camera was moving and the actor was moving, and we had a problem here. The camera was supposed to go around, but we couldn't have the green screen everywhere. So instead, I asked Ramon to do a slow spin on his foot, but then the light wouldn't match. So we also needed to move the light around Ramon as he was doing the spin to make it look like actually the world was spinning around him. It's a bit mind-bending, but you get used to that.
But wait. Before that, he was flying in the air. How did you do that?
I'm glad you asked. We shot that part too. but we did it separately because we didn't have a platform where Ramon could be 2 meters above ground and then be smoothly lowered down. So we did it in 2 parts. But we couldn't match the poses between the 2 shots, and I realized this only after the shoot was over. So I needed a different solution instead. I replaced that footage with a 3D animated puppet, or the fancy term for it is a digital double. It's just another 3D scan with Polycam, but this time I gave it a skeleton so I could animate it. Luckily, in that shot you see it from far away and you don't see the face, which is good because you would immediately notice how bad it is. But when viewed from a safe distance, it's fairly okay. I also used another trick to blend the live action footage with the 3D model, but I guess it's something for another video.
Okay. I get it. You put Ramon in the Matrix, but then he went out of it.
Oh, you mean this part? The screen is fake. I made it in Blender just for the effect, and it was helpful because I could position the dust and the reflection exactly in the place of the stars and the moon to make the transition perfectly smooth.
Why is Ramon walking like a robot? Was it a glitch in the Matrix?
Kind of. That's kind of embarrassing. I had to replace his legs. I said already, this shot was quite complex. And that's after I tried to make it easier because, look, this is a camera movement that I planned. It goes quite fast at one point, and I couldn't run so fast because I didn't have a gimbal to stabilize the footage, so it would just end up shaky. So I had to shorten the path a little bit, hoping that some perspective shift wouldn't be noticeable in the end. And in the upper body, I would say it isn't. But for the legs, after you shoot the perspective, they're sliding above the floor and it looks really weird. So I took a 3D scan of Ramon's legs in the costume, rigged it up, and tried to animate my first walk cycle. And it turns out it's really difficult. So this ended up being probably the weakest part of the entire video, so please look somewhere else. Next time, apart from planning more realistic camera paths, I would also make sure that I'm capturing the movement from a static camera, so that I could use motion capture based on AI. Right now I tried 3 of them and none of them work if the camera is moving. Well, you see what I mean.
Okay, that's enough for me today.
Yeah, so this was a fun little art project that took me 4 months actually. But I learned a lot, like really more than I would have learned in any online course ever. So thank you, Ramon, for this cooperation. Thank you, Ian Hubert, for all the stuff that you shared on your Patreon. That's where I learned most of my tricks. What's the next thing for me? Probably a commercial, well, because, you know, money. And I'll be growing my garden. By the way, do you like surprises? Because there's a surprise button somewhere here, so if you click it, you might get a surprise in the future. Yeah, so thanks for watching and happy gardening!